I know that I keep saying I have challenges going through divorce and finding ways to be there for my daughters. And I thought I'd go over what some of those challenges are because, yeah, it's hard. Everybody's story is individual, everybody's journey is very different. It may be similar in some components to mine, but my challenges are, well, they start with the legal system. One of the first things they teach you in law school is lie because it falls on the other person to prove that it's true, and but you can't unprove the truth either. So this is what I'm up against. One of the other challenges that I face is my ex's lawyer. He's very good at his job. He's very good at being the lawyer. It doesn't take my daughter's state into account, right? He is doing his job representing his client, which is very different than protecting my daughters in a sense. So anything that we put in front of them, they kind of throw it right back at us. And it's a game of ping pong, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it's just like, I end up standing back and going, why? Why am I participating in this game? Because that's what it is. MCFD, one of the social workers, pretty well called it that. Oh, it's just a game. Well, I don't really feel like learning how to play this game, but what does that show my daughters if I don't try? Oh, but it's not me. It's not my nature to participate in this game of money and who's the better hustler. Like, I don't care. I'm a caregiver at heart. That's what I do. And honest to goodness, I what I struggle with is I have the time. My daughters are older. They're not tiny babies, right? They're not super old. They're in that range where they are old enough, but they're not old enough, right? But I'm being prevented from seeing them from every which way direction. So what do you do with that, right? Participate in the game any way you can. Do I want to get good at it? Not really. I quite honestly, I don't give a shit. But do I have a choice? Yeah, I have a choice. I can participate or I cannot participate. But the money that's going towards lawyers in this big fancy game that, some lawyers are better at than others, let's face it. Um, and I chose my lawyers specifically in a way that I didn't want to like, yeah, let's just go in there and win this and destroy everybody. No, I actually thought this could be a very diplomatic, amicable uh, journey in the right direction. But yeah, it's kind of on the complete opposite side of it, mind you. And the money that I'm paying into the legal fees. I mean, part of my heart says go back to medical school, right? Go join the army now that you have time. Go join search and rescue because that's where my heart's at. That's what I do. Um, I help people, right? But I mean, that is such a different way of doing it. I mean, I don't know what this is. This is over here. It's just, um, it's something else entirely, right? So if I don't play the game, are my daughters going to look at that one day and say, "Oh, mom, you abandoned us. You could have done better." When they don't realize because they're too young how much work it actually takes. And that was part of the problem. I work too much. Well, kids are expensive, right? Kids want things. And even though financial education was always part of what I taught them, I'm the mom. And it's just like, oh, mom's saying this again, right? It's so much better when the neighbor says it or somebody else, right? Um, that's why it's challenging. Being a parent is like, I don't want to call it a job, but it's just the hardest, most difficult thing another human being can undertake. I mean, you have these children, and they're just like, take it lightly when I say this, but children are like many of sociopaths. They're many psychopaths. They just cannot comprehend. Some of them like, some of them love, some of them are different, right? But I mean, it falls on you as a parent to educate them and integrate them to be decent members of society, and it's challenging, right? And then the first thing that children misunderstand, and they go to the school and see how these other people, well, other children's lives are better, right? Because the grass is always greener. They say one wrong thing to the wrong person, and then poof, you're here, and you're just like, trying to figure out what the heck happened. The school system nowadays, I mean, no disrespect, but I mean, it is definitely different, right? You always have individuals that are like, oh, this is not good about the school system. We need to change that. Maybe, but part of the problem is because you're advocating for something that you might not actively be accommodating makes it very difficult for the people that, yeah, that sounds really good, but we have something that we've got in place that is working and we can try to integrate that, even though, like, how do you even begin? And is it going to make the system stronger? Difficult to say. I mean, I can come to everybody and go, "I've got this amazing idea." Well, yeah, in my head, in my life, it could work for me, but how is it going to work for everybody else, right? Well, one way to do it is to put it into practice. But I mean, still, even if it becomes such a an amazing part of my life, it works for me. Who's to say that it's going to work for anybody else? But this whole soft start that the school system has now, and it's just like everything is made of like plastic and rubber. It's just like kids don't physically get hurt anymore. Every now and then, I mean, you see them running them just boof in the field and they, it hurts. Happened to me as a child, right? I mean, you're running across the field, you're not seeing when you're looking, and boof, when two skulls hit each other, makes you pay attention. Nowadays, the big thing is if we lighten the load, right? Know this, know that. Oh, we have to like bubble wrap them and we have to be so extra careful not to hurt anybody's feelings. Oh my God, you are setting them up for disaster and failure. Okay? Children don't need to be, yes, they need to be kids, they need to be active, they need to get out there. But where is the education? And I was born and grew up in Europe, so I mean, education was different there, almost to the point of abusive, right? I got hit. I had to stand in a corner when I misbehaved, and did I know what I did wrong as a kid? Mm-mm. I had no idea what I did wrong. I just know that I had to hold my hands out, and I would get whipped, and I mean, it hurt, and you couldn't sit on it. You had to get back to composure. Um, I certainly don't want that for my children, but I mean, you hear of Japanese culture, right? I mean, they start little and it's safe and it's so encouraging and it's such a different way of life. It's just like we are a multicultural society here in Canada, but we are not doing things in a multicultural way. We are still like this way, this way, this way. And then there's massive conflicts and a ton of bullying. Like you don't even know what that's teaching children anymore. You can't even defend yourself anymore without getting expelled. It's just like, first of all, they bullied me. And this is coming for children, not my saying, but children are like, well, they bullied me and I pushed them back and I'm the one that got in trouble. It's kind of confusing, don't you think? It is for me. And I mean, I remember the moment I decided to speak up, and it wasn't even to a child. I just happened to notice because my daughters were getting bullied. And I ended up at school. It was after school. I was picking them up. And I just reached out to one of the parents, like, excuse me, but I'm wondering if we can discuss a conflict that seems to be happening between the girls. And it's probably a misunderstanding, but, can we have a conversation about that? The other mother's reaction, how dare you accost me? We need to take this to the office. And I thought, okay, I'll follow you. And then again in front of the office, and the office ladies are standing there, and I'm standing there, and we're all just kind of like, example of accosting, explaining what accosting is. Um, I don't get it. This is what challenges me. This is where I get stuck. I'm an outspoken person. I'm a caring person. I'm a cautious person. I don't understand. I don't understand bullying. I don't understand disrespect. I don't understand. Even racism is weird to me. All of that, it puzzles me. How can you look upon another human being? I mean, it's one thing not to like somebody, but it's completely different to degrade them, right? To put them into these situations. And I know looking at me, or they're like, oh, how could I feel certain ways? But I seriously feel heavily discriminated in this personal situation that I find myself in. right? The ministry, MCFD, on one level tells me that I'm an amazing mother and I've done such a good job of raising my daughters. And then on the other side, there are certain things about my mothering that is not acceptable. According to who exactly? Where's that universal book that I forgot to read when I delivered two healthy, amazing human beings into the world? Because I know it wasn't in my mummy package, right? God, parenthood, uh, challenging. But when you are completely isolated and alienated and prevented from going anywhere near your children, I mean, that is just something different entirely, right? And then the whole time, culturally, I live where I live, and it's like I try to fit in. I do to a degree. I respect and I regard. I communicate. Um, I try to integrate myself, not because I'm forced to. It's just like either you become a part of this team or you're out of here. It's not like that, but I mean, I don't know. My daughters have definitely been changed, the way they see the world, the way they look at things, as far as I'm concerned, anyway, right? Because now they're just like, oh well, so and so's mother and so's mother. That's great. That's who they are as mothers, right? Um, it's absolutely challenging because I gave birth to two little girls into a society that doesn't know how to look outside their own box, and it's all about don't rock the boat, right? Don't disturb the peace. It's like, what peace? Everybody's mentally ill. And it's just like every second person is, oh, I hear your story or I heard what you're going through and I'm so sorry, but I don't want to hear about it because that's just too much. It's a lot. Okay, don't bring it up and I won't answer your questions, right? Because if you're approaching me and you have questions and I'm answering them and you're coming back to me with, oh, well, that's enough. Okay, but do yourselves a favor and don't ask me about it. Then don't put yourself into that situation. Um, oh man, oh man, these are the challenges, right? I don't know how to navigate cultural norms out there that my heart and my very soul doesn't agree with. I mean, if I go out there and I feel physically and emotionally ill in like a toxic environment, I'm not going to be there for very long. I'm going to come back and find some peace and love and comfort. Even if it means going to the gym and then boxing for 2 hours to get rid of that negativity or burn some sage or there's other ways I suppose, but I don't understand. It hurt. It pains me. It pains me. Absolutely pains me to know that my children are growing up out there being raised by a society who is mentally ill, who wants the school system to say soft because it is more inclusive. It's not. Um, and I say that respectfully. My daughters, I don't like using the word, but they are. They're challenged. I mean, one of my daughters was they wanted to put her on ADHD medication for what? For being high energy. Like, how soft do you want the school system to be? Let's just sit her at a desk and we're just going to drug her up, and hopefully her energy level comes down so that we can integrate her and oppress her into this society that's already not healthy. Um, I prefer not to stay silent and speak out and up about things that people don't have to listen to. But I don't believe in being silent. I don't believe in holding things in and keeping things in. Um, it's not good. It's not right. Society can ignore things out there all they want. It doesn't go away. If anything, it prolongs it and it becomes more traumatic, more, excuse me, more painful, more damaging, like over time, really. if and this is what I don't get the chance to teach my daughters. If you hold it in and you can't feel it, you don't allow yourself to feel it and you keep ignoring it, it's going to fester, it's going to get bigger, it's going to consume you more and distract you from the path or your purpose that you could be focusing on, because you're too busy worried. Oh, okay, well, I want to talk to mom, but these people won't let me, and everybody's telling me I can't see her and she can't be here. And how do you get beyond that if that's all you hear as a child? Like, do they think about that at all? MCFD, the school system, like everybody who's just kind of putting the girls in this situation. And kids aren't dumb people. Kids see beyond that stuff. And being prevented to go to the one person who's always been there for them, um, it's extremely challenging. Very, very challenging to accept my place and also choose to have to. I don't have to, I've got a choice, but I mean, even if I go back to medical school, it's not going to be in this city because this isn't where the medical school is. Um, if I want to join search and rescue, right, all of that takes time and devotion, and it's not going to happen in this city. And if I choose to take care of me and sacrifice not paying a lawyer to play the game that is getting anybody where exactly, right? Instead of not doing that and choosing to put that money towards my daughter's future and whatever my future in whatever way. Um, I mean, is that a cop out? Is that acceptable? And I'm not asking that as a question. That is a conversation I have with myself, right? Nobody but me will know that, right? Nobody but me can make that decision. I am open to suggestions and advice, but ultimately I've igl- I've ignored my intuition, I think, far too long, and I've uh, I've suppressed myself too long, where it's gotten to the point where it can't happen anymore. Um, it can't happen anymore. The one thing that I am good at is being me. If I fall, I get up. If I fall down harder, I get up stronger. Like, it's just why not? What's the point of staying down there for? Right? Doesn't get you anywhere either. So those are the challenges. Like, how do I help my daughter from the position that I'm being kept in? Um, and part of that is, like, there's no orders or anything against me. Again, anything like that. But to keep it that way, I actually have to make the choice not to go near them, right? Because they have been programmed, oh, mom, you can't be here, uh, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, who said? And then the other thing that I really don't appreciate coming out of their little mouths is, mom, I can't. Yes, you can. And whoever taught you you can't shouldn't be shouldn't be an adult in your life. Like, it's disappointing and disheartening. And yeah, to have to choose not to go near them because of the impact that it will have for them, uh, it's a lot. It's such a big responsibility. Anyway.